Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be working on my Norfolk Island Pine forest and I'm going to be planting some dragon's blood tree seeds. The last time I worked on these trees was in September of 2021. I had let them grow for the entire summer and then in September I pruned them back nice and compact, trying to get that triangular shape to the Norfolk Island Pine. And now they've been growing in over the winter and they're starting to get a little top heavy up here, so I've got to prune them back to that triangular form. The Norfolk Island Pine is called the triangle tree because in nature a mature Norfolk Island Pine has a very conical form to it. So that's what I'm trying to duplicate in my bonsai version. Here's a look at the top of the tree, and you can see these branches up in the top are growing with a lot of vigor. So in order to maintain that conical form to the tree, I've got to prune these back. Otherwise, if I don't prune these back, they'll get longer and longer, and the lower branches will get weak and eventually die off. I've got a couple of mushrooms growing in the landscape. I've got a little one here and one over there. At the back of the planting, I have a giant weed growing in here, so I'm going to try and pull that out. Roots and all. So here I go. That came out okay. I've also got a lot of liverwort growing in the moss, so I'll have to pick all that out too. All right, let's see if I can get this liverwort out. That's coming out fairly easily. It might leave my moss looking a little empty in some spots, but that's okay, it'll fill in again. I can see some roots from the Norfolk Island Pine down there. They're quite large. My forest floor is all weeded, so now I can begin pruning the top of the trees. I'm going to start the pruning with the tallest tree in the forest, the one up front. So last time I pruned it back to here, and this is all new growth on top. This branch coming out the front, there's a branch to the right and one to the left, and there's a tuft on top, the growing tip. I don't want to grow this front tree much taller, otherwise it'll look too tall and spindly. So I think I've just got to prune off all this new growth up top and try and get some development in these lower branches, get some vigor in them. They haven't grown at all since the last pruning, so that's my goal, is to, develop these branches to get more sub-branching off them. So I've got to take all this vigor off the tip. So here I go. One big cut. Gone. There's a branch coming out the front of this tree directly towards the viewer. I don't really want, it to continue growing straight out. It's getting quite long. So I'm going to prune that back, keeping in mind my triangular form. So I'm going to take it back to this node here. Like that. I'm also going to shorten these side branches. Just taking the tips off them. Like that. That gets it a little more compact in a conical form. The next tree in the forest here seems to be doing a little better at the apex. There's some new growth coming on some of these side branches. This growth at the back is all new, so I'm going to prune that right back. Taking that tip off, here I go, like that. And then that'll help develop these upper branches. The tree off to the left here has a lot of growth on it and some good growth from these lower branches. It's starting to shoot up almost like a double trunk here, so I'm going to prune that back. Taking the tip off, and then I'll shorten all these side shoots. Trying to maintain my conical form to the tree. I've got a back branch here that's growing with a lot of vigor. I'm going to prune the vertical part of that off to here, taking that off. I'm going to shorten these branches, which you can see are developing all kinds of new shoots out at the tips, but they're too far, they're too long. So I'm taking those back to there, like that. The apex here is growing with a lot of vigor. There's some new branches up there. I think I'm just going to take that right back and develop these new shoots on these existing branches. So I'll just take it back quite hard like that and see what happens there. There's a shoot off to the right hand side here. Again, I'll just remove the part that's growing vertical, and then I'll shorten these new shoots back. So these trees grew really well last summer. So I hope they do the same this summer. They should grow well. Lower down on that same tree, I have another vertical shoot I'm going to remove. I'm just going to pinch back or prune back these growing tips here to keep them more compact. Like that. Now there's a branch growing up here that's getting quite tall. I'm going to prune it back. Shorten all these side branches. Keeping the trees compact. That's got that tree all nicely pruned up. I'll just take this tip off here. There. Now there's a back tree here that has a lot of vigor. So here's that tree at the back here. It's got a lot of new shoots coming off of this trunk line here, which is really nice. Good. This one is getting lots of new growth all on these existing branches. I've just got to shorten them back now. They're just getting a little too vigorous. Keeping my conical shape. That's looking quite good. Now I've got a tree here. Same deal, it's getting vigorous on top. These branches are getting long, I'll prune them back. And this one gets pruned back. That, pinch this tip out here. All right, let's step back and have a look at the forest. I'm stepping back now, having a look at the forest from the distance. I notice I have a lot of different angles that the trunks come out of the ground. There's some that are slightly leaning to the left and some to the right and some vertical. As these trees mature, I definitely want them all vertical. Usually in nature, a tall, mature tree is usually vertical. A younger tree kind of grows on an angle like that, generally speaking. So I think, you know, as these trees mature and when I repot it next, I'll rearrange them slightly. A little more spacing on the left-hand side here. They're a little congested, and try and get them all vertical. I think that'll really help with the composition. But other than that, I think everything's looking fine. It looks very natural. There's no major problems. I think I need to do a little more pruning in the middle here. It's a little congested between the two trees. And I think that'll be about it for today. Here's that area of congestion between these two trees. You can see there's a lot of branches they're kind of interfering with each other. So I've got to shorten them back. I'll take, I think I'm going to take off the branch from the inside of this tree. Right off. That'll give, because this is a nice branch here. It'll give it a little space to grow. And shorten some of these. Like that. And then I'll shorten this branch here too. I'll take off this vertical shoot. Trim the side shoots back. That. Take the vertical part off. And just the growing tips back here. That gives it a little more room in there. Doesn't look quite as congested. I'll take the tip off there. There's some good growth down here from these lower branches. I'll just pinch the tips out on those. I think that's better. Here's a look at the amount I pruned off today. A fair amount for the size of the forest. I'll give the forest a good watering while I have it out here in the greenhouse. And it'll have to go back in the plant room after today. It's just having its spa day. I'll spin the forest around now so you can see it from all angles. I really like my Norfolk Island Pine forest. When I started the forest out, I didn't know if it was possible to kind of bonsai a Norfolk Island Pine, but I'm seeing good results so far. They're fairly slow growing, at least at this point in time. Hopefully that'll pick up as the root system develops. But yeah, I like them as a bonsai. I think they're a pretty cool species to have. The Dragon's Blood tree seeds were sent to me by Tom from the YouTube channel Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors. So thanks very much, Tom. These trees have always been on my dream tree list. I also got a cool book in the mail, Fresh Vegetable and Fruit Juices by N.W. Walker. So thanks very much. Here's a look at what the Dragon's Blood tree seeds look like. Dracaena, draco. They're about the size of a pea. The only information I could find online about planting these Dragon's Blood tree seeds is to plant them about 2 inches or 50 millimeters deep and keep the soil moist and warm and give them good sunlight, and they should sprout in, I think it said 6 to 8 weeks. So I'll plant them and we'll see what happens. I'm going to plant them in this pot. It's a fairly deep pot, so when I plant the seeds, they'll be about just over the halfway mark in the soil. So I'll get a drainage screen here, fill it up with soil, and plant the seeds. My drainage screen is in place, so now I can fill it with soil. All right, here I go with the soil. That looks like a good level if I put the seeds on top. Now, one thing I've learned about seeds is you should always hold a few back, just in case, you know, you planted the seeds and then maybe a squirrel got into them or something and you lost them all. So I'm going to keep some in the packet. I think I'll keep 4 in the packet as a backup in case I lose these ones, and I'll plant the rest. All right, into the pot they go. I'll put 1 in the middle, 1 to here, 1 here, 1 over here. Kind of make a grid pattern with them. And then 1 here, and 1 here, I guess. Okay, and now I'll fill it up with soil. That looks good. Just tamp that down. plastic out of there. All right, here I go with the water. I'll keep this pot of seeds by the front window in the plant room where it'll get lots of sunshine, lots of warmth, and the soil will stay nice and humid. And hopefully we'll see them germinate and grow. I really enjoyed pruning up the Norfolk Island Pine forest today, getting the trees closer to that conical form, and I hopefully got some dragon's blood trees underway. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.